Alright, what's up guys? Following here with a deck profile of the Revenger Abyss deck with the BT3 support, or G-BT03. So, my deck isn't as focused on the G-Zone. Technically it's a little more meta, but I just really like the Abyss plays and using the Diablo, or instead of a finisher, as more of a tech, where if I need it against certain matchups, it's there, but I can finish them off with Abyss just as easily, or I can stall with Abyss to get the hand to survive and then go off when they can't survive long enough. So of course Judge Bow is your starter because I run the Mordred PBA setup. It combos into things with any limb break movers you need, Dorrants, and of course the Sword Breakers, which give you extra draw power. So he's just really good. Then you've got pretty basic trigger lineup, Revengers, all of them, 8 crit, 4 draw, and then the 4 heal. As far as grade 1s, we've got the Revenger Perfect Guards. You can try running the new Unflippers. They can use the Unflipping. I've never ran into many situations where I've needed to drop Perfect Guards to activate Revenger Abyss. But I like being safe, and usually I have just enough Counterblast to go for games, so I don't run into the problems too much, since I also don't run Aura Geyser. Then we have Dorrants. Oh, sorry, I run 3 now. This is mainly because I wanted to tech in 1 Stride Fodder, but he's just a really good card for unflipping since this deck needs the unflips for skills. I now run Limb Break movers instead of the 10k attackers, since if you can go off at like 3 damage or maybe even 2, if you have the right setup with the Dorrant and Blaster Dark Revenger to unflip the Break Ride cost, you can just do a lot of things with that and hurt them really quickly, as long as you don't heal out of 2 damage and go to 1 before you do your restand. Sometimes I feel like the 10Ks would be a little nice, but he's won me a few games where I've just been able to go off a lot quicker and not be forced to sit on Mordred. And then 3 Sword Breakers. You can get away with running 2. I just like throwing people off where if they don't know how I play, they see 1 or 2 gone and they think I can't do anything with Judge Bow that important, so they no guard it, and then they find out that I get a plus anyway. You can pretty much replace one of these with either another Revenger to be safe, or run the extra Stride Fodder, the Stride one, or the Stride Enabler.
Well, it's also very possible to get 3 Sword Breakers off in the game.
Oh, yeah, that is also possible.
Yeah, because you have the Grim Recruiter.
Since, yeah, now that they have Grim Recruiter, you can also get 3 Sword Breakers off in one play if they don't do it well enough and you don't damage them or draw them. But yeah, Stride Fodder, just to give you 9 ways to discard for free if you're not using the Blaster Dark, Blaster Dark Diablo, sorry. Which I don't, so you kind of want the chances. So for the grade 2 lineup, we have 3 of the Blaster Dark Revenger Abyss. He's the Legion mate, of course, so you want to run him. He's great at killing grade 0s, which is really important in the current meta. Most decks need their 0s or want them, so chances are if you kill them off immediately on your grade 2 ride by riding something else and then calling it, you have extra pressure from the 9k attack, and it just hurts a lot because they killed off the starter and potentially their booster, so they might do a 9 to your Vanguard or 10 or 11 or whatever. Next you've got the 4 Blaster Dark Revengers. These are your unflip engine. There's not too many other grade 2s that you would really consider running, so I like running him at 4 since that increases your chances of unflipping, which this deck needs. I run 2 mana because she's just a really good card early game pressure. If she's not in your deck, then you just, and she's in your hand, call her out at grade 2, you can make 15 columns with any 7k, and then it goes back, but it doesn't really hurt too much. The only time she really ends up being awkward is if you're forced to ride her, in which case she's an AK Vanguard and you shuffle your deck for usually no reason because you want your Judge Bow behind her. I guess if they retire it, you can technically give yourself a booster, but most cases that's probably not happening. I do also kind of like her better than Macart, since she just has more plays before you Legion. So if you're stuck with Macart and you either have to save him in hand until you're ready to go off, or you just can't really do anything with him until you Legion, she's applicable any time before that and on Legion or Break Ride.
It's very possible that you can just drag the game in Macart will be
Yeah,
useless.
pretty much. Lastly, I run the 2 Makas. I honestly don't use her very often, but she has come in handy the few times I've needed to, just to get me the extra grade 1 Revenger, or Revenger in general, or the Swordbreaker for the extra random card for extra help in case I run out of things. I used to run Trumpeters to make plays with her, but I kept damaging them for some reason, so I just took them out. That's another possibility in this deck, but they just weren't working for me specifically, so it's worth trying, but they just weren't exactly working to my benefit. For grade 3s, I just run the basic setup, so 4 Mordred, Phantom for the Break Ride, extra pressure when you Break Ride into the Phantom Blaster Abyss, and now I run 4 copies, so I have more chances to go off, or I can, in a few cases, it is technically better if I hit multiple, just to use one as stride fodder. Even though I would like to ride into as many as possible, you're not going to have enough counter blast for that anyway, and you can go into strides, which help a lot, especially this guy, Grim Recruiter. So I run 2 of him in my grade 4 lineup, because he's just a really good card. He's free. On hit, he does stuff. He's just a grade 1 version of Godblade, which lets you set up plays. And with the Judge Bow, when you stride into him over any of your grade 3s, with the Judge Bow play, if you have all 3 of the Swordbreakers that I run in deck, you counter blast 1, activate the Judge Bow, call out 2 Sword Me's Swordbreakers, sorry. And then you activate Grim Recruiter skill, call out the last one, and you have draw 3 for Soul Blast 3, which you should have at that point. It's just a really nice combo. Next, you've got the 4 Blaster Dark Diablo, or Phantom Blaster Diablo. They're your potential game enders, and they're also just to minus your opponent. If it looks like they don't have a field, or that you can get their field to 2 or less, you can Rearguard Bash and try to get them to 1 or lower, or if they have a resist unit, even more than that, and you just punish them for that play, or if they don't do something. It's basically a secondary win condition. I don't always have to go into him, but it's nice to have that option. I run 1 Drag Ruler Revenant. He has his benefits if you need to, for instance, sack like a grade 2 or trigger to just get that extra Dorant, or just Rearguard in general that hits better. He's a secondary option. I don't go into him very often. I think I went into him like only a few times, but I just think he looks kind of cool, and you can pretty much replace him if you don't want to. You can try running the Blizza instead of him, just for the extra secondary win condition for Counterblast 1, flip the last one over, and just use all of your strides to hit really, really hard with Blizza. And lastly, I run the 1 Madhu, because Madhu is abusable with the Legion, since your both cards count as heart, and you have a 9k, so that's 10 or under, and you add one of your grade 3s back. So if you pitch Mordred for stride, you can potentially get a Phantom Blaster Abyss back and try to go into him again for game, or just to set up. If worst case scenario, he also pluses you 1 technically, since you strode for free, so it's not bad. That's pretty much it for this deck. If you guys have any questions or other things like that, let me know, and we'll see you in the next video.